Like, Bo Bichette's bat is not coming out of the lineup. So if he's playing second base, he's our second baseman for 160 games, and that means Espinal is our shortstop for 160 games. This is the comparison that needs to be made. Is that right now we're in a situation where Bo gets to be in our lineup every day at shortstop, and Espinal gets to be in our lineup as a batter 60 to 80 times this year. Patreon.com/The Walk Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
If you're watching this right now and you haven't hit the like button, Billy, get on it. Bug your brother. Tell him to do the same.
Bo Bichette, divisive to say the least. Okay, I want to preface all this Bo Bichette talk with 2 points. Okay?
Yeah.
First point is, and I heard this on the Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe podcast this morning. I can't think of the name of it. Talking Baseball or Chris Rose Rotation, something. Anyways, Chris Rose says it's April 4th. We don't need to preface every statement we make with small sample size or it's still early, but like, yes, that's implied. If you're here watching Baseball Talk on April 4th, take everything we say as if it's small sample size or it's still early or whatever, right? Otherwise, just don't watch Baseball Talk. Come back in June when it's no longer small sample size. That being said, for Bo Bichette and his defensive struggles, it's not small sample size. This is 4 years of sample size at this point, right? But we'll get into this with some actual comments here. Obviously, we talked yesterday about Bo Bichette, the comments Kevin Barker made on the Blair and Barker podcast with Sportsnet.
By the way, I do wish to qualify here that we got, I bet you, I know Adam said we were pushing 200 comments specifically on Bo Bichette. So we really appreciate all the interaction and stuff. And let me believe you, like, it's a rainbow of opinions on the man. So we're going to try and cherry pick the ones that represent as many people as possible.
Of course. So yeah, if we read a comment and you're like, hey, I basically said that, why didn't they read mine? It's just dumb luck. I don't know. Better grammar in the one I picked, I guess. So Sean Richards says, give me a break. Bo could easily win World Series MVP. Yeah.
I mean, I really agree with you 100%.
Yeah, Bo could definitely have a 7-game stretch where he throws 0 errors and hits .450.
I mean, he's basically hitting 400 right now on the season. Yeah.
So
he's an incredible talent. He is an incredible talent, and we have never doubted that Bo Bichette has superstardom capabilities.
Yes.
And when it comes to the offensive side of the game, the dude is a stud, and he's been proving it since last September. And really, I mean, he led the league in hits the last 2 years, so you can even kind of argue he's proved it for 2 full years, yes.
So next one comes in from Oliver, says, oh, now that I'm reading the full name here, I think this is a troll name. Oliver Klozoff. I don't think this is one of our Russian fans, but
you're Mo at the bar with the Simpsons when Bart calls right now.
Yes. So Oliver Klozoff says, I'm not arguing for Bichette, but young shortstops make more errors early in their career. That's true. I do agree with that. And that's what I've been saying as my Bo defender stance all off season, was that he's coming into his age 25 season. That is historically, and I ran down the list of all the Gold Glove shortstops a few months ago on a long toss. And it is hilarious how consistently the age 25 season is a major milestone for many of the top shortstops.
Defensive step forwards, yes.
But then they use Derek Jeter as an example and say Jeter used to make 60 errors in the minors. So I agree with the argument. I reject the evidence because I looked into this. Derek Jeter had one season at age 19 where he made 56 errors.
in Double-A.
In Double-A. It is not fair
As
to
a
compare a
19-year-old.
19-year-old and say, see, young players make errors. That's ridiculous. So you lost me there. But I do agree, young players, and that's why I've been frustrated, I think, by Bo. Again, early sample size or whatever. But like, I really wanted to see him take that next step. So to immediately be on the here we go again.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I'm not panicked on him. The season isn't a write-off yet. I don't quite feel as strongly as Kevin Barker that like we can't sugarcoat it anymore.
Yeah.
He is what he is, you know. That could be one of 10 errors that he makes all season long. And it just so happened that it was at the start of the season. You know, it's like we talk about all the time when a guy starts the season 0 for 20 and how painful that feels for the first week and a half, as opposed to having an 0 for 20 stretch in August, right? Where you go, well, he's still hitting 270 on the year. You're not panicked, right? So it's unfortunate timing.
I'll put a little bit of positive spin on this too. It is impressive because it is a very well documented scenario in baseball where when you're struggling defensively, it bleeds over into the offense. And you know what? Bo has not let that happen this season. I mean, he truly has been one of the few guys in this lineup who has consistently hit all 4 games, and he is putting up big numbers. And so there is something to be said for that. I even have hope that he truly still can be an average defensive shortstop, maybe even this season. And what gives me hope is that it feels like when you're watching him, it's between the ears, right? It's a brain thing. It's a decision-making thing. And that hopefully that can be smoothed out with coaching and hounding him to remember how to play the game the right way.
Next comment related to this. Michael Milne says, trade deadline. Shades of Nomar Garciaparra. And then adds, but who is better? It's not like there's an excess of Lindors or Correas out there. So, 2 good points to be had here. Bichette is still a top 10 shortstop. Like, all things considered, easily top 10. I would make an argument he's one of the top 5 in baseball. Like, it's a short list of shortstops
Elite
I would rather have than Bichette.
They're out there. They're out there.
His defense might be more insufferable because of how good his bat is, right? It makes it easier to nitpick all those things. The Nomar Garciaparra comparison. I remember Nomar.
Oh yeah.
In the late 90s, early 2000s. Rookie of the Year, Silver Slugger Awards, like 6-time All-Star. A lot of errors. Playing shortstop for the Red Sox. In 2000, here's an eye-popping stat for you, okay? So in his 14-year career batting average of .313.
Wow.
Very nice. Over 1,400 plus games. Can you tell me, and I hope you didn't cheat, but in the year 2000 was his career high for batting average, okay? Within 10 points, tell me what his batting average was in the year 2000. Here's a hint. He led AL. He led the American League in batting average in the year 2000.
355.
372.
Wow.
He hit almost 400 across 140 games. That's nuts.
Very
he hit
impressive.
357 the year before.
How many errors did he have that year?
In the year 2000, good question. In the year 2000, and I know people are going to complain that errors is not the best indicator of someone's defensive prowess. 18 errors that year. Fielding percentage of .971 though. So, yeah, he consistently, during his time with Boston, was pushing 20 to 25 errors. He has a couple seasons around 25 errors with the Red Sox. before becoming a first base DH with the Dodgers and Cubs there in Oakland towards
Yeah.
the end of his career. So interesting comparable there with Nomar Garciaparra. The other point, though, there's not a lot of options, and this is what I kind of want to end on with this.
Yes. There's not a
Um,
lot of internal options. And the truth is, there aren't a lot of options major league wide. So what
yeah,
do you do? And this might be part of I really do believe that this aspect of the Bo Bichette defense quagmire is what makes it so tough to palate. Is so unpalatable to Jays fans. It's like, what do we do? So you're kind of trapped in this scenario of like, there's nothing we can do this year. There really isn't. They're going to strut Bo Bichette out there all year. We are probably going to talk about this dozens of more times throughout the season. It's going to annoy every single one of us. Believe me, Adam and I were truly hoping that Bo would at least start the season admirably defensively, so we didn't need to go down this freaking rabbit hole we're in every single season, it feels like. But here we are.
here we are. I think it's crazy talk to think about Addison Barger coming up and being our actual shortstop. I'm high on Addison Barger
Me
as a
too.
prospect and someone who can help in the future. Maybe even this year at some point he could
Maybe
play
even
second
this year.
base for us, or be a weird platoon in the outfield or something, or fill in for Bo if there's a stretch.
It is.
It's crazy though.
It's wild to think a rookie would come up and play a better shortstop than a guy who's been in the majors for 5 years and who isn't going to struggle with the bat. And I honestly do believe Barger is a major league player waiting to happen. I don't know.
If we weren't right in the middle of when we're like, we got to win,
Yeah.
like if this was 2019 still, 2020, and we were still like, if we're the Baltimore Orioles right now when we had
Barger
time
would
to
be
like
up.
figure these things out, then yeah, bring them up and make these transitions. Santiago Espinal is another name that gets thrown out as he's a better shortstop. Do you know? Okay, I'm looking at Santiago's career games. He has played 249 games in Major League Baseball. How many
Adam,
have been at shortstop?
I was just going to say, I can't wait to hear. I have no idea. Can I
Yes,
guess?
please. Yeah.
20,
32.
32.
But still, like nothing. He's played like no games at shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
He looks great at second base.
Yeah.
He has looked good. He has a 980 fielding percentage and has only made 2 errors in those 32 games. But again, to just think that, we could just swap those 2 out and things will be
Problem
fine.
solved.
It's not
Yeah.
like a guaranteed that all of a sudden Espinal is not going to make 20 errors over the course of 162 games. You know?
Now, I truly believe that Espinal would play a better shortstop than Bo Bichette, but Adam does bring up a very good point that a 30-game sample size over his, when did the Blue Jays bring him up? 2020?
2020.
So over his 3-year big league career, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here. I doubt it's probably even, it'll take you a second, but how many minor league games did he play at shortstop? Does that 3-year span where he hadn't played any shortstop, is that going to make him rusty? My guess is yes. Does he find it? Probably. And yes, Santiago Espinal is a excellent defender, and there is a reason why he is on this team, because he is so versatile with where he can play, and because his glove is as close to a sure thing as you can get out of your utility guy.
Okay, so Espinal has 221 career games at shortstop in the minor leagues. 21 divided by 162. No, I'm doing this backwards. He has 37 errors
Okay.
in 221 games. So what's that on a 162 pace? I know.
And this is in the minor leagues.
This is in the minor league, so like whatever. I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but
so he's going to average what, 25 errors
20
a year when he was in the minors.
27 errors if you pace that over 162, and a fielding percentage of only 960. So I
do think he's better than he's far better now than he was in the minors. So this, again, we know this isn't an apples to oranges. All that Adam and I is saying is that if there was a super obvious answer to this question, I think the Jays would have already done it.
Moving Bichette and if John Schneider was to come out tomorrow and say Bichette is now our full-time second baseman and Espinal is our full-time shortstop, there just isn't any evidence that conclusively convinces me that's an improvement defensively at shortstop. There's the hope, and I get that, but Espinal does not have a proven track record that he can handle shortstop duties at the major league level. Yeah, there's indications that he could, but it's not conclusive. And it's once you make that switch, there's no going back. There's no Espinal's going to play shortstop, and then he implodes through April, May, and June, and we go, oh, Bichette actually was maybe not even better, but like good enough where we didn't have to have Espinal's bat in the lineup every single day because of like Bichette's bat is not coming out of the lineup. So if he's playing second base, he's our second baseman for 160 games, and that means Espinal is our shortstop for 160 games. This is the comparison that needs to be made. Is that right now we're in a situation where Bo gets to be in our lineup every day at shortstop, and Espinal gets to be in our lineup as a batter 60 to 80 times this year.
No, everything you're saying, man, I love it. Like right now, John Schneider has the opportunity with the merry-go-round at second that he has, that he can literally put Espinal in when it benefits him the most.
Yeah, when the matchups work out. Yeah.
When the matchups work out the best. Now, if you move him to shortstop, and I think this is a very important point to take out of this, is that his bat isn't good enough for his defense to not be elite at shortstop, right? Like there are everyday shortstops whose bat is around what Santiago Espinal is, right?
Sure,
like
but he's not Dansby Swanson.
Andrelton Simmons. Exactly. Andrelton Simmons, Dansby Swanson. Like these are guys, right, that Swanson's bat's probably a little better, but like Andrelton Simmons is incredible defensively. And so you can justify having him in the lineup 155 games a year, even though he's probably below average offensively at that position. So to take us, it's like having Matt Chapman and Dalton Varsho. Yes, yeah. Maybe when it comes to just pure getting on base or batting average, it's a little below the league average, but they have some power and defensively they're incredible.